Senator Summers.
Good afternoon, Senator Fonfara, Representative Rojas, and distinguished members of the Finance Committee. I'm Senator Summers, and I'm here to testify on just a few bills, so I'll make it quick. The first one that I would like to speak to is 5059, the tax incentive for those with intellectual disabilities. I think that's a great thing that the state of Connecticut can do. There's nothing more important than having those who have a disability be able to be employed in our state. The second one I'd like to speak to quickly is the estate tax repeal 5034. This is something that I have been interested in for quite some time. One way that we can retain wealth in the state of Connecticut is to be able to have those with wealth die here and not leave our state. By repealing the estate tax, we are much more inclined to keep those with high wealth in our state for a longer period of time. What we see now is a trend for high wealth to leave our state knowing that we have an estate tax, and when they leave, they take their wealth with them. And it's very easy for someone of high means to be able to have a second home in a house in one of the 33 states that does not have an estate tax. So I'm in full support of that bill. I also, lastly, am here to speak on Bill 5040, which is an act establishing an excise tax on ammunition. I happen to represent a rural part of Eastern Connecticut in which it is on the lower social economic scale. Many of our residents actually hunt to eat. This is a disproportionate burden on those who use firearms as a way to feed their families. And in my opinion, it is discriminatory, it's targeted, and it is bad public policy. So I am strongly opposed to that bill. And I would like to turn it over to one of my rural residents from Sterling, Connecticut. Thank you. If I could just add one thing quickly, I would like to say that this is also, as you mentioned, an anti-economic bill. We have many small gun stores that sell ammo in the area up north because, again, there is not a police force. We have to rely on the state police. We all know that they are well understaffed. So they do a great job, but it's sometimes, we just had a murder in Griswold a few years ago where an entire family was murdered and it took about 20 minutes for the state police to show up. So it is a different world there than it is in other places. And this adds an added burden and it is targeted. And one of the things also that I'm gonna leave with, and I don't mean this to be disrespectful, but I'm a mother, I'm a law-abiding gun owner, and I am against violence too. But this is not the way to target a law-abiding gun owners with a tax that I'm not sure where that number came from. Because it's not right, it's bad public policy. And I think we should fund education on gun violence, but this is not the way to do it.
Thank you both for your testimony. Are there any additional questions? Representative Sanchez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Senator Summers, do you have any idea how much ammunition is sold yearly here in the state of Connecticut?
I don't have that number off the top of my head, but I'm sure we can get that.
Okay, great. And I'm all for, gun education. I think it's something that we need to teach our kids and let them know about the safety issues. I'm all for that. I have a gun permit myself, so I think it's something that we need to teach our kids. Thank you.
If I can just respond to that quickly, if we want to learn about gun safety, I want to speak to a little boy who's 13 years old in Sterling, Connecticut. His name is Russell Gray Jr. He's a Boy Scout. He knows the ins and outs on how to handle a gun because he lives in a very rural community. There's a great respect, there's great care, and they have learned that since they've been born. Because this is a community in the northern part of Eastern Connecticut, which if you look at it, is extremely poor, that they have had to hunt to survive. And this bill really affects my district, and that's why I'm here today.
And I agree. And I think it's, there are different communities, of course, and there is a huge issue about gun violence in the United States today. But if we're able to show kids that, you're not supposed to use a gun, and if you are using a gun for hunting, these are the safety measures and so forth. And I'm not talking about teaching them in elementary school or middle school, but absolutely, education is key.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, thank you both for your
Thank you.
testimony.